Welcome to the Business Spotlight. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Tim Prukop, the owner of ANSRS Analytics. We are going to be talking about his business journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. Tim, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of your background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Yeah, thanks, David. It's good to be here. I live in Austin, Texas. So my background, I was a football coach for about 20 years, and then when I got out of coaching football, I started selling technology back to football coaches. A company called Exos, which provides the video editing systems that all the coaches use to break down film and analyze their opponents. And Randy Ecker, who founded that company, and I started a business about 4 years ago, and we met the guys that founded Answers Analytics. Thought that it would be a paradigm changing technology for football coaches and in sports. And so we acquired the business and we launched it last April, and we're just getting through our first year.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, well, can you kind of walk me through what Answers Analytics is and like what it does for coaches and football teams as a whole?
So coaches spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out what the opponent's going to do against them every week so that they can find a tendency or a tell that they can use so that when they call a play that they have a better chance of being successful, whether that's on offense or defense. And the tools that they use to do that are 20 years old. The tools that we actually created at Exos back in the 2000s. The analogy that I like to always explain to people is imagine if you were a bookkeeper for a business and you were managing the books on Excel spreadsheets and all the reports that you had to create, your P&Ls, all that stuff, you got to manually type every line in. You got to go then run a bunch of filters and all that stuff to get those reports done. And then along comes something like QuickBooks. And QuickBooks starts to do that for you automatically, and to the point where you could actually take your bank account, drop it into QuickBooks, and your P&L is done, and no manual work has to happen. That's effectively what we do for coaches. We take all the manual work of creating information, sorting stuff, figuring stuff out, and we automatically produce the reports that they need so that they can start their game planning process a day or so faster than they do usually. And then the second piece of it is because it's so accurate and effective, coaches can actually use that information during the game now. So in high
Oh,
school,
wow.
you can actually video the game, you can actually enter the data, and all of the same reports that you would have on the weekend to figure out what you think the opponent is going to do, you can now go, are they doing that? And you can look in real time and you can find videos to watch during the game and things like that. So that's why our tagline is we give you the football answer faster because we're just automating all of the manual work that it takes to get coaches the information they need to do their jobs.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. And I just out of curiosity, like how far have y'all expanded in this? Is it mostly just high school right now? Have y'all gotten into colleges or even professional?
We have three NFL teams that are using it currently. We have about 40 Power Five, Power Four teams like LSU, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Nebraska, Texas Tech, and go through the list.
Yeah.
And then we have just about 220 high schools now using it. Yep.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, well, kind of going to like the business side a little bit. Generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder, owner? Are there outside investors, anything like that?
Yeah, well, yeah, we have investors. So we've had two fundraisers since we started the company. So we have a cap table with a series of investors. Randy and I are majority owners of the business, and we maintain control of the business with our voting shares. But we have several people that are invested and on the cap table. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, tell us a little bit about what your role is currently in the business. Like, well, what does your day to day look like?
So I'm the CEO of the company. I work directly with John Shalala, who's the founder of the company and the guy that created the software. My job is really to make sure that we deliver on the three core values that we've agreed to as a business, our three non-negotiables. And those are number one, to help coaches, number two, to inspire our teammates on our team, and number three, to build the best football technology in the world. And so my job is to make sure everything we do and every decision we make every day meets those three standards. And if they do, then we invest and we do them. And if they don't, we don't do them.
Gotcha, gotcha. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think I've talked to a lot of business owners now, and from what I've heard a lot about is time management can be very difficult sometimes. So one question I always like to ask, and I'm really curious on with your experience, if I were to give you an extra 10 hours back each day, or sorry, each week, how would you invest those hours?
It's a good question. I think that I would spend I would spend that 10 hours having conversations with other companies in the industry and doing and learning more about what's important to our customers, what's important to the industry, what people are looking to do in the future, potential partners that we might be able to work with, potential acquisitions we might want to get involved with. Like if I had 10 more hours a week, I'd devote most of that time to the pursuit of thinking, 2 years down the road where we're going to be, right? We got a really good team of people now that are executing on our vision. And so I would spend more of my time looking towards the future and what that holds with, AI, computer vision, machine learning, and the companies that are trying to figure that stuff out in sports. I'd spend all my time with them.
Yeah, it's a great answer. I wish that I could say that I would do something like that. I think my wife would kill me though if I put more time into work. So, um, well, going into a little bit of the business itself, let's click into your background a bit and what led you here. Why did you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed to choosing to work for someone else? What was the transition like for you?
Well, when I got out of coaching, the first job I had was with a startup company, an internet startup company called Exodus Communications. And they were building the data centers that housed all of the servers for like Yahoo and Hotmail and all those guys. And that was in 1999, 2000, in California. And they actually asked me to come to Austin to open the data center here. So that's how I got here 25 years ago. Um, and it was fascinating coming out of football, never being in business, to go to a company that was basically privately owned and went to $3 billion valuation in 2 years,
Oh wow.
went bankrupt twice 2 years later. I just found that to be hugely entertaining and a lot of fun. And so right after that happened is when Randy asked me to come to Exos. And Exos at the time was just a startup. So we had two customers. We had the Oakland Raiders and we had Texas Longhorns were our first two customers. And then 5 years later, we were 95% market share. Every NFL team, every NBA team, every NHL team, right? So I got to experience the ride from, the first two customers to market dominance. And then we sold that company to Catapult. And then I got involved with another company. So then I had kind of a real good understanding of technology and in sports. And so I was able to work for a couple of other startups that were building technology. One was a company that first started putting social media on articles, on online articles, like with the USA Today and things like that. And they asked me to go take that to all the sports leagues. So we had the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA became customers of ours, right? So and that company got acquired and then went public. So that was kind of fun. And then the 49ers called me and asked me to help them start a technology business called VenueNext when they built Levi's Stadium. And in that business, we actually worked with Ticketmaster to be the guys that learned how to put your ticket on your phone and create an entire mobile app ecosystem in a stadium that you could use your phone for your ticket to buy food and have it delivered to your seat, all that stuff. And we built that company and we sold it to Shift 4. So I've always, since I got out of coaching, it's always been kind of like, let's go start something up and figure out how to take it into sports. And then right after the pandemic, Randy and I were looking at the fact that name, image, and likeness was a big thing coming into the sports market, and everybody was trying to figure out what that was going to mean to college sports. And we were like, that's important, but you've got 20,000 high schools and it's going to affect them too. So we started Ecker Sports together to go figure out if we could help those coaches. And it developed into Answers, right? Which is what we're doing today. So that's kind of how we got here. And I just like to be, I like to be in a position where there's this great idea that's a paradigm shift and somebody has to be able to go out and figure out how to articulate the compelling value proposition of that paradigm shift to that first set of customers to prove whether or not it's actually going to solve the problem you said it's going to solve, and then help pivot the company to a point where you cross the chasm and you're into the majority where everybody's buying it. And then at that point in time, then I got to go do something else. I'm not the guy to
Yeah.
manage the Excel spreadsheets and all that stuff. I like to go out and be the kind of go get things started, figure it out, put a great team together, get it going, and then and then watch it develop from there.
Yeah, totally understand. Yeah, it's a really, really cool journey that you have, just like kind of like going all throughout, being in a lot of different sports, not just football, and kind of like ending up with the company that you have now. It's awesome. As you look back on your journey so far, what has been the most memorable roadblock or hurdle you were challenged with that you were forced to overcome since you've acquired Answers?
The biggest roadblock that we had, well, so you had in the industry, you have three companies. You have Catapult, which used to be Exos, you have Huddle, and you have DB Sports. And those three companies provide the tools today that the coaches use to do what we do. But the coaches have to manually create the stuff using it. The biggest concern I had with Answers was those guys coming and saying, you know what, coaches, you don't need answers. We can give you that information. We'll build that ourselves. Right. That was the original concern we had. And so we didn't really announce answers until we had our first 30 or 40 customers. And then last summer, of course, all the guys at Catapult, we hired most of them, right? So I know all those guys really well. They contacted us, Huddle contacted us and said, hey, what you're doing is really interesting. We'd like to see if there's a way we can maybe partner with you guys to see if this will be something that'll solve some of the problems that our coaches have. And so we did that, and we were able to partner with Catapult directly. We're doing an integration with DV Sport right now, and we've created a web service now to help automate some of the stuff coaches do with the huddle information. We haven't exactly partnered with them yet, but we've been in close conversation. So we've been able to build a business without having to displace the 800-pound gorilla in the market. So that was the biggest challenge, and we've overcome it from that perspective, which has been pretty exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, so let's move on to what makes your business so special. Who who primarily does your business serve? We've kind of talked on that a little bit about it, being of a lot of football teams. But if I were in the audience, how would I know if I was a good fit for your product or service?
Well, you would be an offensive or defensive coordinator at a high school, college, or NFL team who wants to be able to go home on Saturday before midnight.
It's
If
awesome.
you and you're listening to this podcast, give me a call. I can help you.
So are there any other competitors in the market? I know that you brought up Huddle and Catapult, but are there any competitors primarily like directly to Answers that have popped up over the last few years?
There are not anybody that's a direct competitor. There are several companies who are trying to find ways to use technology to give coaches information that they think would be interesting. Using computer vision, for example, to say, in this situation, that person was running at this speed, or technology to track how fast people are moving or running around. There's a lot of companies that are doing stuff like that. Um, and all of those companies are great and they have great potential to be helpful. But where they all fall down and what separates Answers from all those guys is that they don't have something that they can give to a coach that's a deliverable that they can actually use when they need the information, right? It's like, here's a splatter chart of where all the balls were thrown in the game. Okay, so there's 47 dots on a thing. I'm a coach going, okay, what do I do with that? Like, how do I like
Mm.
what's that? I'm great. Good to know that. I don't know what to do with it. What we've done is we've created a relational database effectively where any data that's interesting to you can come in there, and then you can cross-reference and you can put things together and you can filter and you can do all kinds of stuff so that a coach can actually get a piece of information that he could use, right? So we call that giving a coach a deliverable that they can use. And so right now, there's hasn't been really anybody else that has kind of come to try to attack that problem specifically. Most people are trying to use technology to see if they can find something interesting to know, but they haven't been able to figure out how do you then let a coach know that. And to your question, what makes us special is we've got 14 people on our staff. Every one of them coached for more than 25 years and we have a real empathy for what it's like to coach football because we all did it. And we have a tremendous affinity for football coaches and we want to help them. And so it's just wonderful to be in a situation with a company that I don't care how many competitors would develop over time. Our special sauce is that we want to help coaches, and we're building the best football technology in the world, and I'd take on any comer, that wants to come compete with us.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all built a software for coaches by coaches, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, effectively, yeah. It's a bunch of coaches who tried to solve a problem that coaches have, and we use technology to do it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let's kind of jump over into marketing because I'm really curious about like the marketing strategies here. Like you guys have a bunch of high school teams, y'all have some college teams and some NFL teams. What percentage of your monthly sales typically is invested back into your marketing budget?
I think we probably spend on marketing, which I would include sponsorships and attending clinics and trade shows and things like that, less than
Definitely.
less than 5%.
Gotcha, gotcha. How many different marketing strategies do y'all use?
Our number one marketing strategy. So we follow the crossing the chasm methodology theory. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that book. Was written in the 90s. Most technology companies used it in Silicon Valley. But the idea being that when you start a new company, the first people that are going to buy your product are people who are trying to innovate and create new ways to do things. And they typically don't really care about what it costs. They just want to try to do something different, right? And that represents a small 2 to 3% of the entire market generally. And then you've got a group of early adopters, guys who are like, oh, that's interesting what they built. I'd like to build that. Let me try that, and I'd like to see how that goes. And that represents probably 15% of the market. And then you've got this next set of customers, which are what they refer to as the early majority. And those are the guys that are like, hey, they're doing it over there, so I'm going to do it, right? And that's the chasm that they refer to. Getting from the early adopter to the early majority is the hardest thing for a technology company to do. And the way that you do that, or the way that we do that, our marketing effort is to provide a solution that is that actually solves a problem. We actually deliver on a promise that we said we're going to deliver on, but then we create raving fans. So our number one goal is to make every one of our customers a raving fan. To do that, you got to make them feel like they're special. And for us, there's two ways to do that. One is to always be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to answer a call if they have a question. And two, to proactively try to help them get the most out of the software that they have. Because we know that if they do and they have a great experience, they're going to tell every single one of their friends, you got to buy this. And that's our marketing. We are a word of mouth marketing company in a niche market. Now, we also do things like advertise. We have a website. We attend trade shows and clinics. We have a email marketing program where we send out information once a month. But the most important thing is when one coach tells another coach, this is really going to help you. That's our focus on marketing. So all of our investment in marketing revolves around trying to make that happen.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I had a couple other marketing questions, but I think that you tackled all of them right there, which is awesome. Um, how would you describe your leadership style in business? Has it changed over the years?
Certainly. Yeah, certainly. I think early on in my career, I was trying to focus on performance and deliver results without regard for how that affected other people. And now in the role I am today and older, I think I spend tremendous amount more time trying to figure out how do I help somebody be better at what they do and trust that even though they would do something different than I would do it, that if they're committed and they're in, that however they get it done is fine. So for me, it's more about more time and effort and thought into how to create a group of people that can excel and do better than just me myself going out and trying to make something happen. That's the biggest change for me as I get older in my career.
Gotcha, gotcha. How are there many leaders developing in your team currently? Are you developing other people to kind of like get a
Every
bigger
single,
in the
every
business?
single, every single person on our team is a leader. Every one of them was a
Awesome.
head football coach. So think about this for a second. So we have a team meeting. I was never the head football coach. I was always the defensive coordinator. But we have a team meeting and we've got a guy that used to be the head football coach at SMU, a guy that used to be the head football coach at Arkansas, Bowling Green, South Lake Carroll, I mean, all these top programs. Those guys are the ones that are on our team. And those guys were head coaches for 20, 30 years, each of them, winning state championships, conference championships, and all that stuff. So everybody we have on our team has led, right? Which is wonderful because now we just have to get everybody in a room, figure out what we're going to go do, and then everybody just goes and does it. Like we don't have anybody on our team that you have to tell what to do. All you have, we have guys on our team you got to hold back until we decide which direction. We're going to go over there or we're going to go over there. I don't know. Well, don't go anywhere until we decide. Okay, we're going over there, and everybody just they go, right? So we're very fortunate in that fact that we have a tremendous group of people that work for us that are all great leaders.
Yeah, that's awesome. What has been like your process in like finding these guys and hiring them?
Haven't recruited one of them. They've all come to us.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Every
that's
single
crazy.
one of
That's
them,
awesome.
every single one of them, when they found out what we're doing, reached out in some form or fashion and said, "Hey, what you guys are doing is really interesting. You know, I've been coaching for 30 years. It's time for me to get out because I can't continue to do the 110 hours a week. I'm 55 years old. I want to go see my kids in college, but I want to stay involved with football. And what you guys are doing, you really, I believe you're trying to help coaches. I'm really interested in what you're doing and maybe if there's a role for me." And they've all reached out to us and come to us from that perspective. And then we just say, "Hey, we tell them what we're doing. We say, well, why don't you go try to do some stuff? Go see if you can get some coaches interested or whatever." And the ones that have really taken that by the reins, that's become our team. So it's been it's really been eye-opening because we haven't had to recruit anybody. And every time we've needed somebody, they've just kind of showed up. And so now we're thinking about for next year, okay, is there anything we need to do to the team, add people, move people around or whatever? And we're in great shape from that perspective.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we'll move real quick into the rapid fire questions. Um, all right. What is the key to success for you?
To give everything I have to benefit others without regard for myself.
Gotcha. What is your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Um, Find a way to create culture that is based on non-negotiables to make it easy for everybody to understand what they should or shouldn't do at any point in time when they have to make a decision.
That's a really good answer. What is a book or podcast you're reading or listening to right now?
I've been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan and Sean Ryan, and I'm in the middle of this book called "Don't Believe Everything You Think"
Don't
by
believe everything you think.
Joseph Nguyen. It's fascinating.
Nice. This is kind of a fun question. It's honestly probably my favorite question to ask. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose one spot in your business to sprinkle it on, where would it be?
I would have another $1 million to hire 10 more engineers. I would create enough money to hire 10 more engineers so we could do it faster.
Gotcha. Just for like creating the program, building it up more, making it more, I guess,
Build,
fine
build
tuned
up,
in certain ways.
yeah, just to build it out faster and connect to all the different things that are out there and figure out what to do with computer vision and machine learning, more quicker. I mean, we've got a great roadmap and we're doing a great job. I'd just like to have it happen in half the time. Because the
Awesome.
coaches
Yeah.
are, coaches that are using it now are saying, "Hey, could you do this? Could you do that?" And the answer is, yeah, we could, but we just, right now we got to get this done. So I think more engineers would be the most important thing for us right now.
Gotcha. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, would you like to share with the audience where they can find you, connect with you, contact you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm easy. It's Tim at ansrs.ai. You can find us on Twitter at ANSRSFB is our hashtag ANSRSFB. And then we've got our website at ansrs.ai that you can find us at.
Awesome. Yeah. And just out of curiosity for myself before we get to the final question. So I know that y'all are mostly in the realm of football. Are y'all looking to maybe expand into any other kind of sports or anything like that at any point?
We are next spring. Yes. Yep. Basketball will be the
Awesome.
basketball will be first.
Awesome. Yeah. That was just for me. I was just curious on that,
Yeah,
honestly.
great question.
I'm a big basketball guy. Um, so yeah, well, we come to the final question of the day, and that question is, what is most inspiring to you today?
That's a really good question. What inspires me today is how the people in our company interact with each other and inspire each other. It's the most amazing thing. We have people in our team that, like I said, we're head coaches of SEC teams making millions and millions of dollars a year that are hand delivering boxes of video equipment to high school coaches in Texas right now, today, as we speak. And I am just blown away by Chad Morris and Mike Jinks and Chuck Caniford and Curtis Kleiber and their ability to put all that aside and just go humbly try to help a coach. It's just the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And I still can't believe it happens every day when it happens. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
And,
this was a
and
great
what's and what's
conversation.
and what's awesome about that, I'll just finish that, is for those coaches, when Chad Morris walks into Huntsville High School like he did yesterday, and that coaching staff is sitting there in a room, and here comes probably one of the best high school coaches to ever coach in Texas, who coached at SMU and Arkansas and all that. And he sits down with them and says, "Okay, hey, what can I help you with?" And they spend 2 hours talking about how do you uh, out formation this defense or whatever, and he'll tell them anything they want to know. I mean, for our customers, it's tremendously valuable, and it's just so inspiring to watch those guys do that every day. It's been awesome.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't even know that he was at Huntsville High School. I went to college in Huntsville, so that's
Did
crazy
you?
that he was
Yeah.
out there. Yeah, well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed getting to hear your story, so thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just encourage all of you watching to save the show and come back and watch it again, because Tim really did have some great insights on business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to you, Tim, for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
It was fun. Nice to meet you guys, and good luck to you in your business as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Well, I will see all of y'all in the next episode.